You know that feeling when you're carrying the weight of everyone else's emotions while your own pain stays completely invisible? When you're the one people turn to for support, but nobody notices when you're drowning. If you're nodding along, you're experiencing the INFJ paradox that nobody talks about. Here's what's wild. INFJs are emotional experts. You can read people's feelings like an open book. You understand psychological patterns others miss. But when you're suffering, when you're overwhelmed, when you're barely holding it together, people assume you're fine because you handle their problems so well. Today, we're diving into the 3 types of pain that society completely overlooks in INFJs. And here's the thing nobody tells you. This invisible suffering isn't a weakness. It's actually proof of your advanced emotional and cognitive processing. Before we start, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our weekly deep dives into the world of personality types. And if you are looking to achieve a deeper understanding of yourself and your personality type, click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. The pain of emotional absorption. INFJs absorb emotions like sponges, but nobody realizes the weight you carry. You walk into a room and immediately pick up on the tension, the sadness, the unspoken conflicts floating in the air. While others are obliviously chatting about weekend plans, you're processing the emotional undercurrents of everyone present. This isn't just sensitivity. Research shows that highly empathetic people actually experience physical symptoms when others are stressed. Your nervous system responds to other people's emotions as if they were your own. Their anxiety becomes tension in your shoulders. Their sadness settles in your chest. Their anger creates knots in your stomach. But here's the cruel irony. You fall into what I call the empathy trap. Because you handle other people's problems so skillfully, because you're the calm presence in their chaos, people assume you're unbreakable. They see your emotional intelligence and mistake it for unlimited emotional capacity. Your extroverted feeling function, that natural ability that makes you so attuned to others' emotions, turns you into a lightning rod for everyone's unprocessed emotions. People unconsciously dump their stress on you because your energy feels safe and stable. They leave feeling lighter, while you're left carrying baggage that isn't even yours. Think about your friendships. How many times have you spent hours listening to someone's problems, offering insight, and helping them process their feelings? Now think about how often those same people check on your emotional state. The math doesn't add up, does it? You become everyone's emotional dumping ground with zero reciprocal support. People take and take from your emotional reserves without ever thinking to refill them. They're not being malicious. They genuinely don't realize the energy exchange happening because you make it look effortless. Society mistakes your emotional intelligence for unlimited emotional capacity. They see you handling complex emotional situations and assume you don't need the same care and attention you give others. It's like being a therapist who never gets therapy, a healer who never gets healing. The pain of authenticity tax. This one hits different because it's about the constant energy drain of simplifying yourself so others feel comfortable around you. Every day, you're performing this exhausting dance of dumbing down your insights, hiding your complexity, and pretending to be more surface level than you actually are. Your intuitive insights get dismissed as too deep or overthinking. You see patterns and connections that others miss, but when you try to share them, people's eyes glaze over. You overthink, they say, as if your ability to see beneath the surface is somehow a character flaw. So you learn to code switch. Around this person, you're more lighthearted. Around that person, you're more conventional. You're constantly calibrating yourself to what others can handle, what will make the interaction smooth, and what won't make them uncomfortable. The loneliness of hiding your true complexity to maintain social harmony is profound. You know there's so much more to you than what people say, but showing your whole self feels risky. Will they think you're weird? Will they be overwhelmed? Will they stop wanting to spend time with you? Your high standards for authenticity isolate you in a surface level world. While everyone else seems perfectly content with small talk about the weather and Netflix shows, you're internally screaming for a real conversation. You want to talk about purpose, meaning, the patterns you notice in human behavior, the ideas that keep you up at night. But depth makes people uncomfortable. It requires vulnerability, self-reflection, and emotional energy. After a long day, most folks just want to chill, not examine the meaning of existence. So you end up feeling disconnected even in a room full of people. The mental gymnastics of constantly switching between your authentic self and social expectations are exhausting. You're like a translator, continually converting your complex thoughts into digestible sound bites. Your profound insights get watered down into safe observations. Your philosophical questions become casual comments. People prefer the watered-down version of you that they can easily understand. The real you, with all your depth and complexity, feels threatening to their comfort zone. They can't put you in a neat category, and that makes them uneasy. You notice this pattern everywhere. In work meetings, your innovative ideas get overlooked until someone else presents a simplified version. In social settings, your attempts at meaningful conversation get redirected back to surface topics. In relationships, people love your wisdom until it challenges them to grow. This authenticity tax you pay is invisible to everyone else. They see the adjusted version of you and think that's who you are. They don't realize the mental and emotional labor it takes to moderate yourself constantly. They don't appreciate the sacrifice you're making to maintain harmony. The most painful part? When you finally do show your true self, people act shocked. "I thought you were the easygoing one," they say, as if your depth and complexity are somehow deceptive rather than simply hidden for their comfort. You end up feeling like nobody really knows you because nobody does. They know the carefully curated version you've created for their benefit, but the real, complex, multifaceted you remains unseen, unappreciated, and ultimately alone. The pain of invisible contributions. Your behind-the-scenes problem-solving goes completely unnoticed. While everyone else is focused on the obvious surface issues, you're quietly identifying root causes and planting seeds for solutions. You're the one who sends that perfectly timed text that prevents someone's meltdown. You're the one who subtly redirects a conversation before it turns toxic. You're the one who notices what's not being said and addresses it indirectly. But there's no audience for invisible work. No applause for preventing disasters that never happen because of your intervention. People don't celebrate problems that were solved before they became problems. Society only notices the loud, visible contributions while your quiet brilliance goes unrecognized. The frustration of seeing solutions others miss but being labeled as negative cuts deep. You spot the flaws in plans, the potential pitfalls, the human dynamics that will cause issues down the line. When you try to address these concerns, you're dismissed as pessimistic or overthinking. Then, months later, when everything falls apart precisely as you predicted, nobody connects the dots back to your earlier warnings. Your future-focused thinking gets dismissed until your predictions come true. You see patterns playing out, consequences building, problems brewing, but people are stuck in the present moment, dealing with immediate concerns. Your insights about what's coming feel irrelevant to them until suddenly they're dealing with the exact scenarios you warned about. Why does society reward loud mediocrity over quiet brilliance? Because loud is visible. Mediocre is comfortable. Brilliant is threatening. When someone takes credit in a meeting for the innovative approach you suggested in a casual hallway conversation, they're not being malicious. They genuinely don't remember where the idea came from because your contributions happen in spaces where nobody's keeping score. The pattern of people taking credit for insights you planted in conversations happens constantly. You drop wisdom in one-on-one discussions, help someone see a situation differently, and guide them toward a breakthrough. Then they present that breakthrough as their own original thinking. Not out of malice, but because your influence was so subtle, they've internalized it as their own realization. You're the invisible architect of other people's success stories, the friend who helped them gain clarity on their career path, the colleague who helped them navigate office politics, the family member who helped them understand their relationship patterns. But when they tell their transformation story, you're nowhere in the narrative because your contribution was behind the scenes, in private moments, through gentle guidance rather than dramatic intervention. This invisibility isn't accidental. It's how you operate. You don't need credit or recognition to feel fulfilled by helping others. But the cumulative effect of constantly contributing without acknowledgement creates a deep loneliness. You start wondering if anyone would notice if you stopped being helpful, if anyone values what you bring beyond your utility to them. This pain isn't weakness. It's proof of your advanced emotional and cognitive processing. Your ability to absorb emotions, maintain authenticity despite social pressure, and contribute in an invisible way demonstrates a level of psychological sophistication that most people simply don't possess. Stop expecting recognition from people who can't see past the surface level. Their inability to perceive your contributions doesn't diminish their value. You're operating at a depth that requires effort to understand. And most people aren't willing to invest that energy. Your worth isn't determined by others' ability to perceive your contributions. The pain you experience is the price of being psychologically advanced in a world that rewards simpler ways of being. But that doesn't mean you should change. It means you should stop waiting for validation from people who lack the capacity to see you truly. Find the rare few who do see you, appreciate your depth, and reciprocate your energy. Quality over quantity, always. If you want to continue the journey to understanding yourself or an INFJ in your life, click either of the following videos where we continue to unlock the secrets of the INFJ personality type.